It's time for the Income for Life Daily Dime. Reactions and analysis on important financial news that impacts you in 10 minutes or less. Brought to you by the podcasting pros at Third Wheel Media. If you're a financial professional, estate planning attorney, real estate agent, or any small business owner, Third Wheel Media has a podcasting production package that fits your needs. Visit thirdwheelmedia.com to find out more. Now, here's today's Daily Dime.
Welcome to the Income for Life Daily Dime, powered by our friends at Folds of Honor and Third Wheel Media, where we have a quick hit discussion in 10 minutes or less about a topic that is important and is going on right now in the retirement and income planning world. And Nick, we have a great topic that we're going to be discussing here in 10 minutes or less that is titled Not Your Father's Retirement. And if you're of the age that your mom and dad maybe retired 20 or 30 years ago, the world was obviously a much different place whenever they walked away from their paycheck. So let's talk about how those things are different now. And the first of these four topics, Nick, is it's okay to work beyond age 65. So let's talk about that as we talk about, again, not your father's retirement and how it's okay to work beyond age 65 if you want to.
I like this topic, Matt, and especially on the heels of Father's Day weekend where we just got done. There is a shift now in us looking back at previous generations and how they retired. And number one being people are working longer. It is okay. You set up your plan on however you want to retire, when you want to retire, but it's okay. You might not work in the same job. You might work after, but continuing to work and earn money, do your passion, find your hobby and earn money off of that is a normal thing now. So it's not just get your golden watch at the end and then you're done collecting your pension. Many people have different aspects of what they look for in retirement beyond age 65.
And a lot of people, obviously, whenever you're talking about your father's retirement and things, whenever your father was still working, there's just so many different variables that are out there right now. You know, like you just said about the gold watch, there's so many times where you'd see the people from 20 or 30 years ago that would work in that same job for that full 20 or 30 years, where that's just not really the case anymore.
Correct.
People are changing jobs all the time, and if you really like what you're doing, then keep going if you want to, because now it used to be whenever, for example, Social Security came along, you retire at 65, life expectancy was 67. That's not that way anymore. So the longevity factor is going to probably help people work a little bit longer than normal.
Correct.
Let's jump into number two real quick. And number two is being retired might be more expensive than working. This is a neat one. So let's talk about how being retired today might be more expensive than working.
And this is how things are different now than what they used to be. It was kind of a generic thing that expenses might go down in retirement 20, 25% because you're more stable and you're doing those things. Now people want to do things in retirement, especially as soon as they retire. So you might be doing more travel. You might be gifting to different things. Maybe you're spending money on a new hobby or a new job in that continuing working, and you're putting money out there to have that next phase of your life. So things can be different, and it may not be a decrease in lifestyle expenses. It might be even to what you were doing before, or even an increase in those early years of retirement, and we got to plan for that.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing out there that everybody is concerned about is healthcare costs. And whenever you do get into retirement, the healthcare costs are off the chart now. So a big concern whenever you're talking about it may be more expensive than working.
Correct.
One of the big things could be healthcare. So it's,
and that later on in retirement, all that stuff is unexpected. Yeah.
You have all the travel plans. You got all the things you want to do. You have all those good things that, obviously cost money that you want to do that are all more expensive now than they used to be. But you look at some of the things that you're not necessarily planning for, like that healthcare claim. That could be a devastating thing. So being retired sometimes could be more expensive than working. Let's jump into number three, Nick. Retirees today often have a lot more problems to juggle than previous generation of retirees. So let's kind of talk about that. Of course, we hit on one of them about the ballooning healthcare expenses for themselves, but they got to worry about a lot of different things. We got the nursing home, assisted living needs, financial help to aging parents, things like that. So let's talk about how today's retirees often have a little bit more to juggle with than the previous.
Well, and along with that, I think the healthcare costs are probably the biggest thing. Just the ballooning expenses of that. But then also, as you mentioned before, Matt, you're typically not retiring with a pension. So you have to organize all of those retirement savings that you've done. all of your 401ks or IRAs, and you have to get those organized and set up into a plan. It's not as simple as having the cake at your party, getting your gold watch, and then you got a paycheck from Social Security and your pension coming in. You got to organize all the things that you've so diligently set aside and saved for retirement, and we got to start putting that into a plan and making some action steps.
And that is not only one of the biggest concerns that retirees will have whenever they are getting close to retirement, but it's this one of the scariest things that we hear all the time, Nick, is from our clients that are coming in and just shifting. That we always call it the shift over from the accumulation to the distribution is just a nerve-wracking, scary thing for people to go through that we have to walk people through all the time. Whereas 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't needed.
It was reasonably simple. You kind of knew what to expect when you retired. You decided when you want to retire, or your job decided for you at a certain age. And now you got to have more. There more come into that decision.
Absolutely. So again, the third out of these four of not your father's retirement is, again, retirees today often have a lot more problems to juggle than previous generation of retirees. So let's jump into the last one, Nick. This is number 4 of these top 4 topics, and it is retirement portfolios today need to be designed to fund expenses for 30 or more years, because we kind of hit this a little bit ago. Whenever Social Security was created, it was start at 65, life expectancy at that time was around 67. Yeah. So now in today's retirement, living in deep into your 90s is not only expected, but sometimes it's kind of the norm for a lot of people. So let's talk about how you got to be able to fund this thing for 3 decades.
It's not only the duration of it too, but looking at the current environment that we have right now with interest rates being at an all-time low, inflationary pressure on the horizon, the dynamic of what that retirement savings and that retirement income could look like over those 2 or 3 generations of retirement could be a ton different than it was a generation ago.
Oh, it's almost flipped upside down.
So we got to have that plan to be resilient and dynamic enough to adjust as these things change over the decades of your retirement. So you got to solidify that income plan and then make sure that the rest of your investment plan is matched with that, but has some flexibility to change and be dynamic with the changing environment, because we're at historically low interest rates. Inflation is on the horizon. Whatever that means to your retirement plans could change in the next 5 years, and we better be able to change with it.
Absolutely. And if you're planning for retirement back 20 or 30 years ago, whenever you wanted to retire at 65 and the life expectancy was 73, it was a lot easier to do it that way.
Correct.
Whereas in today's world and today's, ability for the healthcare and the longevity, and we talk about it all the time, and this is a perfect example on this number 4 here that we have, is that how much you have in assets is irrelevant, because those assets can be lost.
Correct.
And one of the biggest asset killers is longevity. And if you do not have a longevity plan, a guaranteed lifetime income plan set up to be able to compensate for that, you could really get yourself into trouble pretty quick.
Correct. And another one on top of that is when you're going for decades, the changes in whoever's in the White House, who's ever in the legislature,
Absolutely.
Tax changes can be a big deal. So that plan needs to be able to be flexible to adjust for those changes as they come when we're talking 30 plus years in retirement.
Absolutely. So again, we hope that you enjoyed this very quick hit discussion on the IFL Daily Dime, where we pick a topic that is concerning to retirees in both the retirement planning and financial world, and we discuss it inside of 10 minutes or less. And again, this show is powered by our friends and family at Folds of Honor and Third Wheel Media. We appreciate them for their support, for what they help us with when it comes to these quick hit discussions. Again, thank you very much. And if you would like more information about what we could do for your retirement to help you stay retired, just give us a call at 888-228-8814. Again, that number is 888-228-8814. And until next time, bye-bye for now.
This has been the Income for Life Daily Dime. Reactions to and analysis of the important financial news of the day in 10 minutes or less. For help with your financial and retirement plan, call 888-228-8814 or visit incomeforlife.org. The Daily Dime is brought to you by the podcasting pros at Third Wheel Media. Do you need a turnkey solution to launching and maintaining your own podcast? We have packages for business professionals that provide you with content, editing, posting, social media, and all the steps in between. We can make the podcasting process simple and effective. Book a free consultation at thirdwheelmedia.com and mention you heard about us on the Daily Dime for access to an exclusive discount on our services. That's thirdwheelmedia.com. Information provided on today's show is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information is obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified professional before taking any action.